Spirituality versus materiality. This is something that we all of us struggle at the beginning, because we see a separation between our inner wish, if we can say like this, and what actually the world presents to us. And at the beginning, of course, there is a great conflict between these two aspects, but in reality they represent the same two sides of the same coin. Only later on we start to understand this deeper, and when we touch, realize something, discover something which is beyond this, beyond the perceivable, then we do realize the perceivable as a play, and we can even interact with it from a higher standpoint. But please watch this video, because maybe it can provide some insight to you. At the beginning, spirituality represents for most of us like an escape from reality. We read text, we read mystical books, we read the stories of sages, and we try to interpret those reports according to our mind perspectives, which already contains a big fault in it, because experiences cannot be delivered through words. They have to be done personally. And all in our desperate research of something better than this, of an escape, we lock ourselves into the room and we practice some kind of mystical tantric visualizations, and that hopefully is gonna lead us to some sort of state of enlightenment, of nirvana, or whatever we can call this state. But if you yourself are in this position, back in the days I was in the same position, I encourage you to notice that this creates even greater friction with the perceivable. And life is made of these two coins, which means that there is a more solid aspect, which we can call it materiality, and an essence inside that shape. Doing something just on our spiritual work research actually might even create greater tension in it. In fact, for many people, I believe that the real work will be actually dropping spirituality and all those ideas, and look after the aspects of their life, their practical aspect of their life, that they need some order. Because otherwise we jump into that field of imaginative spirituality, which is just an illusion. It's an escape. It's trying to hypnotize ourselves with a better reality, possible more than this. But let's face the truth, we are here. And in my case, a great solution was qigong, because actually working from the base and growing up vertically, so at the beginning maybe turning the attention inwardly from the horizontal plane, horizontal world, and building strong foundation can allow us to explore other possibilities, but we do that with a better perspective, not with an imaginative attitude, but rather with our own experience into it, which is not based on concept, belief, research. It's based on our day-to-day experience, extending the possibility of what we usually perceive. And materiality and spirituality, they can be two extremes, and the extremes are not good. I was a very extreme guy in my choices, in my way of handling things, and having judgment about what it is right, what it is wrong, what it means to be spiritual, what it not means to be spiritual, what it is good to eat, what it is good to do, how should I behave. Those kind of stereotypes and guidelines that we apply to ourselves end up to create even greater conflict between the two aspects of the same thing that we can just call life at some point, to make things easier. But because we are in a very external society, we tend to be attracted by material things, which is nothing wrong with those things. If we have the right perspective, we can enjoy them. But at the same time, society, family, job, environment, they encourage us into this kind of external push. And as spiritual people, let's call ourselves in this way, we don't find actually long-lasting satisfaction in that kind of search of happiness, because this is why we try to extend ourselves more in the world. At the end of the day, we all want to be happy. Anybody here wants to be happy. Somebody tries with a beer, somebody tries with a girlfriend, somebody tries with a high paid job. At the end of the day, we realize that there is a peak of let's say of pleasure, short pleasure these achievements might bring, but then later on there is a fall. And as more sensitive people here, we maybe start to question if this is the right way actually to satisfy or to complete ourselves. And this is actually when the spiritual game starts to play and starts to kick in sort of inner research. But unfortunately, this kind of approach might lead to the other extreme, to the fact that our practical life is screwed up. The way we act in the world is screwed up. There's no practicality, there's no a grounded approach to it. Everything is handled to this mysterious intelligent force which is handling life, whether we know it or not. But our life starts to be unbalanced, and focusing too much on that aspect can even be a bad thing to do, because we are made of both materials, if I can like both essence, although they do represent the same thing actually at the end of the day. So what I'm trying to say, if, for instance, I don't know, some people because they are fully dissatisfied with this life, they try a quick fix, which could be going visiting a guru and having some kind of blessing, or attending some kind of medicine plant ceremony, or diving into some qigong with some incredible expectation about everything is energy and all the rest of it. But the only thing that we really need to look after is ourselves, and bring order. And to bring order, we have to start from what it is available to us, what it is perceivable to us, which is our practical life, our body, our way that we handle our emotion, our thinking, our action in life. So if we bring some order in that aspect, then we start to be responsible and jump into a game that eventually is going to lead us to a balancing of these two aspects, the spiritual aspect and the material aspect. There's nothing wrong, for instance, with money. At the beginning, me and many of you, I'm sure, they had some kind of issues with money. Maybe you're still having some kind of issue with money, seeing them as the bad, evil aspect of life that is ruining society. There's nothing wrong with that. Money is like, you need them to buy food. It's like before we were in the jungle, you were going there to run and find some food and kill some animals. Now you had the privilege of actually just going to a supermarket, doing less effort, and put your money on the table and have the food for yourself. So there's nothing wrong. And again, I was in the wrong perspective back in the days, and I have to actually be grateful to the qigong path, which very practically dismantled all those ideas and created some strength, because we do need some kind of strength and strong, I don't want to say personality, but yeah, centered possibility to be able to push ourselves even further. Because, for instance, let's see all those people who try to go with psychedelic into the exploration of themselves, or medicinal plants, most of them, they lack the ground. And I've done some of these experiences, 5 times ayahuasca, a couple of times, 3 times I think peyote, and extensively tried drugs when I was very young, because I thought that that could be a way to actually explore spirituality, consciousness, whatever you want to call it. But I notice that if we don't have a strong, I know it sounds like counterintuitive, a strong, ordered personality, identity, we cannot transcend it because we might take this kind of psychedelics, medicinal plants, and be skyrocketed in the space and having a confused, blissful, and ugly experience, and no actually being able to integrate those experiences. And ultimately, those are experiences. Everything will change. Life will kick in again. So we need a strong foundation. And in my opinion, it means actually optimizing this to have a present body and present emotion and a present mind. And then by quietening the mind, we can actually understand that there is no difference between the external perceivable world, what we call material, and the more subtle aspects of life which can be explored through the energetic practice. But again, what I invite is not to jump ahead by trying to explore the energetic practice without actually having a good foundation, because it means just diving into imaginative processes. And I know that, as I said before in this video, it's a tendency that we might have as spiritual people to avoid the ugliness of the world, which at the end of the day is not that ugly. Even if everything will collapse and there will be a big nuclear bomb, we'll all die, I think everything is just fine in the way it is. But at the beginning, when we are into this kind of inner conflicts, inner research, we tend to put more weight into this kind of spiritual interest. And even exploring qigong and the energetic aspect with that kind of attitude, I hope that this video could be helpful. For some of you, might ring a bell. Trying to find an escape into that might actually separate ourselves from the world. And at the end of the day, what we want to do with this kind of Nei Qigong practices or Nei Gong practices is becoming one with the world, experientially, not through thoughts. So if there is a thought that the world is not good and things don't go in the right way and everything is ugly, of course we're going to be very much separated from it. I'm not encouraging the opposite attitude, which will be everything is fine, we love each other, we hug each other, it's just a God blissful story. No, it's not. But if we want to find out something that goes beyond the material, the materiality of life, I think we have to start from the materiality of life, whether it is our personal life, whether it is our body, mind, and emotions. We have to start from there, having a clear and functioning base to later on, through our personal work that we do, maybe with the qigong practices, push ourselves beyond that naturally. This is going to be something that is going to happen not because of our will, but because it's a touch of grace, of this unconceivable and infinite force that is present in everything around us. So I hope that this video could have been a little bit helpful. I'm trying to say, don't go to extremes, either on one side or the other side, because maybe you're trying to do a spiritual work to fix your life, or maybe life needs some attention on the more practical things, or maybe you're trying to explore the energetic aspect, but maybe life is pushing you actually to fix your body and having a good structure first before being able to dismantle it and start to go into the subtleties. Or maybe you are to focus into achieving materiality or having this kind of silly superpowers that are just a natural consequence of the work that we do here, such as the Qi mission and everything connected to it. Maybe work more on your mind, work more on your emotion, work more with the reason why you're doing those things, because you might understand that it's quite a limited perspective in that case. Try to embrace the possibility that what we are trying to do and what we do naturally here is trying to evolve, and we can go down or we can go up. This is the free will that actually we have as human beings. We can be attracted by lower things, or we can refine our lower aspects and transcend them into sweeter and sweeter life possibilities. Again, that could be from a painful body to a very pleasant body, to a lack of energy to a blissful state of energy, from terrible emotions to loving and super sweet emotions, from obsessive thinking to actually clarity and empty space in our mind. So I hope it was useful, and if you have some comment, drop them below or send an email, suggest some topics if you wish, and have a good day.